Hello, everyone. I'm Mystery.
And I'm not Mortimer the Authenticator, and we are the Duality of Man.
Today, we're talking about something new that's been happening on the internet recently in regards to dating and the male and female dynamic. And this is actually very surprising. I did not see this coming, but it's called the soft guy era. And what it is basically because women are, strong and independent and are, more career oriented and, earning their own money. A lot of guys are saying, well, if you're owning your own money, and you want to be, strong and large and in charge, why don't I, sit back and be the one who's, taken care of now? And it's obviously, it's obviously meant to be, you know, funny and a bit of a joke, but it appears to be ruffling a lot of women's feathers. They seem to be getting very upset about it, and they don't understand that that is very much the point.
But okay, and let's be real here. If there are some men who are more homebody oriented, I don't see unironically what would be the problem with a career woman having a house husband. What I find more interesting about this is that every motherfucker seems to have a problem with it. Um, and even the people who don't have a problem with it, a lot of them only have no problem with it because it is, being phrased as a joke or done ironically. Whereas they, if people started doing it unironically, you'd have every motherfucker from the dyed in the wool feminist to the Bible thumping traditionalist reeing and gnashing their teeth um about real man and traditional masculinity and how dare a man fail to live up to his manhood obligations, blah, boy, etc., and so on. And it's interesting that when women decided they wanted their fair share of the um, non-domestic sphere, the forces that be in our society basically roll out the red carpet for them. But when men decide be they would actually like to be valued for their vulnerabilities and personhood, it's how dare you, you evil motherfucker, you are subhuman, you aren't even worth our moral consideration if you don't play your role, GTFO, or live up to your obligations, girl. Like, seems a
Well,
little
here's the thing:
lopsided to me, but eh.
a lot of what it is men throwing some of the ridiculous expectations that a lot of men and women have in regards to dating back in their faces, and there are women who understand why this is happening and go along with it.
And again, I don't see any reason why that shouldn't be the case if a career woman wants herself a sensitive, homebodied house husband.
Well,
Someone
I'm
to
sure there
do.
are some relationships that are genuinely like that. It's just obviously not the norm in regards to society.
Well, no, but the thing is, when women started acting abnormal en masse back in the late 19th, early 20th century, everyone again kind of rolled out the red carpet for them, more or less. And when men decide they would like some personhood too, the word MRA gets used as a slur and associated with man babies and slackers and man children and boys and all the rest of it.
Well, yeah, but here's the thing: I think that MRA is honestly no longer a slur because a lot of issues regarding men's right have come to the forefront in the both in the news and politically and on like social media with podcasts. So I don't think it's necessarily a slur anymore.
Well, not as much maybe, but then again, that just on another level, it the more popular men's rights gets, the more fervently the more staunch traditionalists and the more radical feminists both start, poo pooing it and be like, get back in the man box. So there's that. And even the rank and file, um, just generic, women also have a tendency to even on some level being okay with men's rights in theory, but not liking the implications of it when the rubber meets the road, and so on.
Yes, like uh, men can have men's rights, but not at the expense of women. Okay, but what if women are literally the reasons why we need this
Yeah,
man's
what
right?
what what if feminism is the problem and men's like traditional obligations is the problem and the tendency of men to prioritize others over themselves is a little bit of the problem.
But to bring it back to the tough guy era, it's honestly kind of funny because there's also a catchphrase that goes along with it.
Hmm.
Did you watch the videos that I sent you?
I caught a couple minutes of them. I was a bit busy.
Yeah. Well, the catchphrase that goes along with it is drizzle drizzle, and this is a actual, parody of another catchphrase from this black feminist whose name I don't give a damn to remember. But her catchphrase was sprinkle sprinkle. So they're basically mocking her every time they say this.
Ha. So it's the new equivalent of the straight pride parade phenomena, for example.
Yeah, basically, and a lot of it is guys saying that, hey, if you are out here, you making your own money, send me like 40 dollars so I can go get some lunch. You're strong, you're independent, you're constantly talking about how much of your own money you're making. So why not, if I'm your guy, send me a little bit of money my way.
I forget who said this, but I think it might have been Dr. Randomacam. Um, you hear a lot of women saying things like a woman needs a man like a fish needs a bicycle. Did it ever occur to anyone that bicycles don't necessarily need fish either?
Hmm. I mean, that would be more the MGTOW, which
Hmm.
is also getting a lot of women angry, which is honestly surprised me about how angry they're getting because it's just men
Opting
minding
out.
their own business. Yes, we are going to literally mind our own business. How fucking dare you?
Well, and here again, it might come back to the sort of innate gynocentrism of it all, because on some like instinctive narrative level, with a lot of these, feminist, traditionalist, and even just rank and file women, it's you aren't allowed to opt out of the standards that we set for you. You're supposed to want to jump through the hoops we set for you so that you can get the prize. If you choose not to play the game, then you're even worse than someone who fails at the game on some level. Because that's you taking your agency back away from us, and we're supposed to be the ones standing in judgment of you, and if you don't let us stand in judgment of you, or you rebuke our judgment, then you're scum because we say so.
Yeah, but it's not that men are failing at the game. It's men looking saying, okay, the game is rigged 6 days from Sunday, so I'd rather just not play at all.
Yeah, and according to the gynocentric bug, be it in the traditionalist form, the feminist form, or the just rank and file thought form, thought with thot, not the other kind of thought form, but the standard is you're not allowed to opt out. We're supposed to set up the game, and no matter how hard we make it, you're supposed to find a way to persevere and strive through, because that's the only way you can be a real man, don't ya know?
You know, to contrast a bit with all these, angry feminists getting mad over the soft guy era, there is one relationship that I, learned about recently that I think actually deserves a bit of a mention in a good way. Have you heard of the gymnast Simone Biles?
The name is vaguely familiar. I don't know where I know it from.
She is a black woman, gymnast, Olympian actually. She does gymnastics for the U.S. Olympic team, and
Good for
she
her.
actually got married to, I believe, a football player. Well, what the guy does is not really that important. The What's important is that she treats this man like a fucking king and loves him like genuinely.
You're
And
supposed
he,
to, in theory. Like
yeah,
that's
no, and the thing is, people got upset about their relationship when he said that he was the prize. That is when
oh
people
oh
got
dear.
upset about their
That's
relationship.
oh no. You're not supposed to say that. That is forbidden. I can see why people are upset. And of course, I'm being sarcastic when I say that you're not supposed to say it. It's forbidden. But yeah,
Yeah, he
that's
said this during
that's
it.
saying that men should have some kind of intrinsic worth, or at least acquired worth, and that it's equal to or greater than women's inherent worth. How dare he?
Yes,
Lol.
he said this during an interview, and a lot of women on the internet got very, very upset. And we're telling Simone Biles, like in the comments, to he's not shit. Leave him. Like you deserve better. You're the prize. And she was actually
You're a slave.
including.
Blah 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 blah.
She was actually like in the room where that interview took place, and she was fine with it. She didn't care. But the thing is, she's now getting genuinely angry at the comments, like saying like no, leave my husband and leave my family alone. Fuck y'all.
Which okay, let's play a game of compare and contrast here because this is making me laugh hysterically. Remember what happened when Will Smith tried to play the dutiful husband role at the Oscars? And remember how he was getting lambasted for basically being his wife's bitch?
Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
have you look at the relationship? I mean, it's hard to
no,
describe it
no,
any
no.
other way.
It's a valid estimation. I'm playing compare and contrast between that and this, which is kind of the bizarro world mirror universe opposite of it. Because she is playing the dutiful wife role and basically saying, "Keep my husband and family's name out your fucking mouth." And one of these is the healthy version, and the other is the unhealthy version. Let's spot the difference, folks.
Well, the thing is, their relationship appears to be very, very healthy. Like when her husband is out, playing his sport or doing whatever he does, she is there to support him. Like she even said, like when my husband is, doing what he does, I don't want the spotlight to be on me. I want the spotlight to be on him because I'm here to support him. And he, in contrast, whatever she's, training for gymnastics or like working with like gymnast organizations,
He's
he
there
is
to
there,
support her, as you do.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah. It's a very
It's
healthy
almost
relationship.
as though you should have some sort of sentimental regard for your significant other or something.
Yeah. Yes. Giving a damn about the person you're in a relationship with. Bold new concept we're seeing in 2024.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see how it pays off for him. Oh, it's paying off exponentially. Who could have guessed? And oh, never mind all the booing and hissing spectators rioting in the stands. Like this is how fucked up. This is how like much in down the rabbit hole territory we are, folks. Woman pussy whips her husband into making a public spectacle of himself on live television for all the world to see, and she somehow is lauded as the based one, as the one in control, as the one who wears the
Okay.
pants in the relationship. And on the other hand, we have a healthy, stable, extremely positive relationship between two relatively extraordinary people who wholesomely have regard for each other, and the internet loses its fucking mind. I, I, that's our world, ladies and gentlemen. We are in cloud world.
Yeah, this seems to be like a pattern in what people call the quote unquote sisterhood. Like they love to tear people down who are happy. Like if here's the thing, like if a guy sees another guy who's got a good wife, got a good family, he's like, damn, good for him. I wish I had something like that.
Yeah,
But with women, like they
the many choruses of bass spring to mind.
yeah, but it's like it seems like online, like women will constantly try to like tear down each other's like significant others or relationships to like try and point out all the ways where he's awful and they should abandon their relationship to return to being single, which is just a nightmare as we all know now.
Well, this is the problem at the dark heart of feminism. They actually view what you and I would probably consider a happy, stable, fairy tale romance type relationship as an oppressive, abusive, immoral thing, and they view um, fuck it all, burn it down, men are disgusting, men are worthless, etc., as the based option, as we would say. And so they see every and you see this in the reaction to the trad wife movement. when,
Yes.
whenever whenever you have influencers who are pulling the trad wife aesthetic, you essentially get, oh, so you're making yourself a slave to the man, you're a slave, you're a handmaiden to the patriarchy, etc., and so on. They genuinely view every instance of a fairy tale happy ending sort of romance as Stepford Wives, and they view every frankly bitch who is constantly miserable to every motherfucker that she comes into contact with and regards men as tools at best, as hell yes, slay queen based. She's burning down the patriarchy, being the bug in the system, hoorah sort of movement. We are that level of backwards, folks.
So I have some comments here, uh, some comments on Reddit regarding the soft guy era, and I'm going to read a couple of these because they're fairly interesting takes. He says, soft guy era is just a clever way for men to hold women to the same egalitarian standard. Women who push back only prove that they prefer traditional roles over equality.
Based.
Yeah, let's see. See, at the center of this trend lies a call for gender equality in the home. Men express a desire to move away from traditional provider roles and to have a greater say in household matters. The outdated notion of the man cave is being challenged as men seek support for their hobbies and interests within the home.
Once more based.
Yeah, like we talked about that before, the man cave and men having to sequester their interests and hobbies to like one corner of the house, while the women basically gets to run the rest of the household however she wishes.
It's and again, I'm gonna say what I said back then, and I think I've said it multiple times. If your significant other wants you to basically either sequester or destroy everything that makes you happy, find another significant other. God damn it! There are women who enjoy fun shit and would enjoy doing your hobbies and shit with you. Find one. It's better. It's better for the species because the more people like that breed with each other, the more the better off the species is. Whereas every man who willingly man caves himself is just going to breed another generation of women who implicitly see men as tools and men who implicitly see themselves as worthless. So yeah, no, that's not the good ending for our species. The good ending is where we all are happy with our significant others and enjoy each other's company and enjoy playing games or building models or what so the fuck ever interests you might have in common with your significant other. It's also bizarre to me that in the case of the man cave, the woman almost takes on the role of surrogate parent for the man. Like she sees it as her job to be his moral better and control how much he indulges in his hobbies, which is just it's a I don't want to be hyperbolic, but it's a subordinating relationship. It's kind of a slavery relationship. And that's
Yeah.
just it's implicitly disgusting to me. If you're not happy with your significant other, if you don't have any things in common, and especially if they shame your interests, hobbies, and basically everything that makes your life worth living, you're probably not meant to be together.
Yeah. I mean, you shouldn't have to basically, you know,
Sell your
turn what
soul.
I mean, I was gonna say sorry. So basically, like, keep something that you really enjoy, like, in one room is kind of like a embarrassment that she doesn't want the rest of the world to see unless they're invited in.
Because if she's embarrassed by what makes you happy, she's probably embarrassed by what you could meaningfully call your true self. It's not a good
Yeah.
basis for a relationship.
And there is one other aspect of the soft guy era that is a bit different, but still funny. And it's guys who have succeeded, guys who have, like, a lot of money and wealth and, like, houses and cars, and they are joining in the soft guy era because of what a lot of women will say is, like, if they're high achieving, they will want a person who makes at least as much as they do or
It,
more. Until now,
yeah,
guys,
especially more.
yeah. And so now guys doing it around, okay? Like, I have 6 cars and a very big house. Like, if you can't add to that car garage or bring me another house, what are you really offering me?
Which, I mean, again, that just seems like the rules applying to everyone equally. And that also seems to be the thing that pisses them off so much. Because even though they want all of the latitude, all of the freedom, all of the achievement of, the kind of public sphere work that men used to do, they also want the sentimental she's a prize, she's inherently more worthy than me, she's inherently more pure than me sort of sentimentality attached to themselves. And what seems to be happening here is a bunch of men going, okay, you can't have all the good bits of being a working woman and all the good bits of being seen as this pure, inoffensive, ethereal goddess that I need to serve. You're gonna have to pick one,
Well, here's
and
the
they don't
thing.
like that.
Like, I feel like a lot of women try to sell purity, but it always, whenever they're lying about it, it always comes out in one manner or another. Like, the way they speak, the way they move, what they wear, like, just like, it should really be like a subject of study, the physiognomy of whoredom.
They want to be the princess in the tower that he has to strive for, and the badass revolutionary bitch who burns down the oppressive system.
The thing is, they always reveal themselves one way because here's the thing: repeated behaviors become habits, and habits are often things that you don't even think about doing when you do them.
Yeah,
So they will reveal
what you
themselves
do
one way or
on
another.
some level becomes who you are, kind of thing.
Yeah, so they will reveal themselves one way or another. You just got to look for it.
Again, it reminds me of the one Roald Dahl quote about ugly people versus pretty people, and how that I forget the quote exactly, but it's very much the definition of how physiognomy works. Doesn't matter how beautiful you are to start with, if your every waking thought and action is ugly, sooner or later you're going to be ugly. Whereas if you're genuinely decent, sooner or later that niceness, that kindness is going to show through your face.
Yeah, that if you don't believe the man himself, I mean, you can see the blatant evidence of that by just visiting a far left protest and looking at the people who decide to partake in such.
I mean, this is why I hate the deliberately asymmetrical haircut. I absolutely despise it. The one that sort of looks like you lost a fight with a pair of electric hair clippers. Um,
Yeah, that.
I believe diversity in comics used to refer to it as the mental illness haircut, and
Yeah, I mean,
unironically, both historically and in terms of physiognomy, it kind of is, because it's a kind of haircut they would give to mental patients to prevent them from hurting themselves.
it's just like seeing a brightly colored frog in the rainforest. Like you see it, you know exactly what you're in for.
And yet, those frogs appear to be demanding, "You must touch me and also worship my pretty colors, otherwise you're scum."
At this point, who hasn't been called scum by these people?
Um, yep, that's I can't I can't think of anyone that I know who hasn't. But then again, I also traffic in anti SJW and MRA circles, so that might be a bit of a selection bias. But
As
I've been called internalized homophobe. I've been called an internalized homophobe and or internalized straightness before
I mean, I've
because
been
I'm not
I've been
gay
called
enough.
I've been called I've been told that I have internalized white supremacy, which is ridiculous.
Which honestly is just a new way of saying the insult of Oreo, like it like it always was used in that sense.
Yeah, but have you read this recent article? I forget where it's from, but it said that wanting to have children, a desire to have children, is now far right.
Yes.
Like you've now condemned basic human biology to the far right. I mean, at this point, like, soon enough, anything that the sun touches on this earth will be far right.
You function as evolutionarily, biologically, and neurologically normal. You must be a Nazi and a fascist. Literally. Like,
I mean,
I'm fucking gay, and even I debate here and there whether I want kids or not. Like, it's not like it's not unusual to want to serve evolution.
it's just madness at this point. Like, it really is a death cult. Like, they just want humanity to end for
Like,
whatever
no,
reason.
no, it's literally like life itself is immoral, and all things immoral must be burnt to the ground. Therefore, we must eventually burn life itself to the ground.
Are they secretly being controlled by a lich?
I,
Because that's something we genuinely have to ask at this point.
I, okay, but even liches at least want people to be around so that they can like continue opposing them. Like even the mustache twirling villain wants there to be heroes so that he can like test his malignant genius against them and shite. Like where would Maleficent be without the three good fairies, etc. Like they on some level things that are evil still want there to be good so that they can oppose it. These people these people have thrown caution to the wind and gone, nope, nope, just burn it all to the ground. I don't even care anymore.
I think this is one of the things that we as a society have wrought upon ourselves by continuously saving the terminally stupid.
Yeah, the the like evolutionary selection pressures have gone completely foobar because we've safetied ourselves into basically the only evolutionary pressures exist now are those that emerge from society itself and or those we allow to be, which on some level I'm grateful for because I'm a 5'5" manlet and gay and crippled, so like on some level I should be grateful for that because I probably wouldn't survive in anything like the wild. But on the other hand, I'm also a meritocrat who actually wants to be of some kind of worth and respected for being of some kind of worth because I have like, skills, talents, and merits that are worth consideration. These people actually consider the imputation that they should be worth a damn to be oppressive.
Well,
Literally.
here's the thing: you are very intelligent, and even in the old days, even if somebody didn't necessarily have a disability, like if they could survive and were smart, then they society usually found a place for them.
Yeah, the or to use a pop culture reference, the Tyrion Lannister effect.
I mean, he was one of the last ones standing,
Yeah,
but
he is genuinely my favorite character, and the scene I can't remember which scene it is, but there's a scene where he explains um uh what am I, and he obviously points out the whole dwarf thing, and then he goes, I have my intelligence, I have my books. Like that is what I am and how I make a life for myself, basically. Which based. Um but yeah, again, these people would look at that and go, you've internalized ableism, Tyrion, and therefore you are oppressed, and we have to save you from yourself. Derp.
I mean, there is stuff to be said about helping people who are disabled or protecting children just because they simply don't know any better. But if someone's like a adult that is supposed to be fully functional and they're just that freaking stupid, like why
It's
not
not
just
even it's not even just the stupid, it's the resentment. They actually resent that they're expected to, on some level, make a better version of themselves at some point.
this is actually making me reconsider Canada's MAID process.
Like, like it's the same way as I'm usually very hands off on the whole abortion thing. It's like, well, very often people who do multiple abortions tend to also eventually make themselves infertile. So if you want to like throw yourself off the metaphorical cliff and like jettison yourself from the gene pool, um, all I could say is thank you for your service. Like thank you for your service to the gene pool by ejecting yourself from it. Goodbye.
It's like with MAID, like or if you have like some crippling, you know, illness where your death is inevitable and you want to choose how to go, then
That's one thing. That I think that's respectable to a degree. Like
yeah, but also if you are just, feeling down or depressed about life or like say you're obsessed with climate change and you don't want to live in this horrible world anymore and you want to take yourself out that way, it's dumb, but if you want to do it, I'm not going to stop you.
yeah, like again, it's the concept of like organic consequences. I'm not going to inflict harm on you or even be directly negligent to you. But if you explicitly want to do this thing for ideological and moral reasons, then I'm not going to stop you, but I'm also not going to stop you from the like organically emergent consequences thereof. In fact, like I say, I'm going to borrow a line from Starship Troopers and go, "Thank you for your service to the gene pool by ejecting yourself from it. Have a good day."
It's like, yeah, I'm sorry, guy who just set yourself on fire for stupid protest reasons. I don't have any water on me.
Now, it'd be different if you literally had water on you and then you avoided helping, but yeah, if you literally just don't happen to have water, then so, which by the way, I just want to print a retraction slash update. I didn't think that there would be any copycats of the guy what set himself on fire because he basically got laughed off the stage of life by his own side. But I apparently was mistaken because it's a thing now.
Yeah, I believe somebody did it outside of the Donald Trump trial. I don't know if he did it because of the trial or if he just knew that that would get him a lot of attention.
I think it's probably the second one. He wanted to make as public a spectacle of himself as he could to get the point through. Which I suppose, given the previous one who set himself on fire, um, that is rather smart to make sure that this time they have to pay attention. God damn it! One would think setting yourself on fire would be enough to get the job done, but apparently not. Only when it's politically relevant. Question
I mean,
mark.
I mean, for that to be the reason to take yourself out, it has to be purely the spectacle because it's not fast. It's certainly not painless.
Yeah, it's again. At least he didn't grift or like take anyone else out with him. So there's that.
Yeah, but like one of the things that will always get me is that women claim that there is that women in the modern era are doing great. They're more powerful. They're more independent. They can sleep whoever they want. But then at the same time, they're also reporting more depression and are more heavily medicated than ever before.
It's almost as if they don't like the consequences that organically emerge from those actions or something, and then they wonder why they're expected to actually deal with them. Which again, thank you for your service to the gene pool by ejecting yourself from it.
The thing is, like, it astonishes me how fervently hold on to their political beliefs when you actually show them the numbers about how this isn't working.
Well, because they think it's true. And that's the thing.
Yeah, but
On
it's
so,
not. Here's literally the numbers proving it's not
right,
true.
but they you have to keep in mind that this ideology of theirs is inherently low trust with regards to society. They genuinely believe in the mustache twirling conspiratorial patriarchy, what oppresses everyone always and forever. So you show them numbers, and especially if they're the Western science is a product of the patriarchy variety of ideological stupid, they will look at that and go, well, of course your numbers say that. Your numbers are a front for the patriarchy, her or her. So fuck your numbers, fuck your facts, and fuck your alternative explanations. Because my morality.
It reminds me of that ridiculous, question of if a woman would rather be alone with a man or a bear.
And some people actually chose the bear.
Like I've seen lots of women picking the bear for whatever reason. They somehow try to justify it, but there is no justification for a decision that stupid.
Well, the internal justification is if you believe that men are the subhuman, oppressive, freaking, Tolkien goblins, and you simultaneously believe that nature is good and nature is pure and humanity is the enemy, and especially with regards to fluffy things, well, a bear is fluffy. It's an animal. It isn't tainted by the stain of manliness or humanity in general. Therefore, the bear might actually be the better option than the aforementioned, mustache twirling Hannibal Lecter with a goblin face that a lot of these ideologues think men are when society isn't looking. or even when society is looking, depending.
All right, so let's place them out in the woods. Two groups are searching for them: a team of men and a group of bears. Which do they think they would hope finds them first?
Probably the bears, because again, they think that men are the worst possible interpretation of goblins from Tolkien.
Good.
At best, probably.
It's and I've heard people like make horrible arguments, like saying, "Look how many women are attacked by men every year. Look how many women are attacked by bears." And I'm like, that is the most ridiculous
There
argument
are
I've ever
fewer
heard.
bears.
Yeah, yeah, like we don't live in a human bear society. How many women are actively interacting with bears constantly on a daily basis? If
Now,
they
how
did, there'd be
many
a hell
men
of a
are
lot more
there?
attacks. God, there'd be a sometimes I think we should like just run these experiments IRL and just give them what they asked for.
It,
Okay, you're out in the wood. Here's the bear. Have fun.
if there were an equal number of bears as there are of men, would society get better because it would be women just turning all these bears into teddy bears, or would it be worse because they're fucking bears? I I know which option I think would happen, but which option do you think would happen? Oh, ideologue of feminism, because I'm gonna have to guess that actually quite a lot of people, probably not even just women, like very effeminate men would probably also believe that, especially the male feminist types, would probably also believe that society would be better off if it were just whatever percentage of men are like male feminist and effeminate enough, i.e., the really flamboyant twink types, the women, and all of the like super masculine men literally just being replaced with bears, because bears are fluffy and they're animals and they don't know any better. So we can train and domesticate them and shite. Whereas men are again like Hannibal Lecter in a Tolkien goblin suit, apparently at best.
Yeah. Well, I'd say we should just give these people what they want, and work to increase the bear population. But that'll just be like one of those eco morons who want to reintroduce wolf populations to Britain.
I mean, we domesticated the wolf for a reason, y'all. And I
And
mean,
then they got rid of all the dangerous ones, so now people can go through the English countryside in peace
like
and not
we
get
can.
mauled.
On the other hand, instead of encouraging the wild bear population, why don't we try to domesticate the bears like we did the dogs? That would probably be a better option.
Well, I think we could. I think to a degree we could have overpowered some of the smaller wolves. I don't see a man overpowering a bear. I mean, we have technology, sure, but a bear is still a freaking bear.
Yeah, like maybe like the top 0.11, 0.001% of men might, because there are those fucked up like Grizzly Adams folks who genuinely do, the like people built like fucking powerlifters who genuinely can fucking 1v1 a bear. But unless y'all women want to breed with those men on a like Genghis Khan type scale, uh, most despite what you instinctively and intuitively want vis-a-vis that one bear video, um, most men are not Tarzan, Gaston, or Hercules, and that is why you probably don't consider them #real men. Because that is fundamentally, I think, where like that is at least one area where the instinct bottoms out. They genuinely do want a man who can just 1v1 a bear, no problem. Which, I mean, they do exist, but they are rare as shit.
Well, this
So
just
unless
goes
you want to
back
breed
to
with them, we're gonna have to be we're that's gonna be how it be. for the time being.
Well, this just goes back to a point I made a little while ago that, and this is going to get me called a misogynist for like the 80th time, but in matters of safety, women do not get to make the final decisions because clearly they cannot make the right one. It just reminds me of this time on the whatever podcast I saw where this woman said that if five intruders were breaking into her house and her husband had to face them, she wouldn't want him to have a gun because he might kill one of them.
And that is apparently more of a moral affront to her sensibilities than the fact that she's about to be assaulted by random intruders.
Yes, evidently.
And on the other end of the spectrum, we have a bunch of motherfuckers on the internet who will literally shame a man for running away from a bear instead of standing his ground and fucking Tarzaning the fucking thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I believe that any person that dates that woman should literally just ignore whatever the hell she says in regards to home security.
Now, see, this is once again one of those times where I am very, very glad that my preferences run more in the male direction. Because, like, even though I like the very, very tall, very, very muscular sort of people, the one thing I have over women is I would actually be appreciative of someone like that. If I if I could find the fucking paragon of virtue that happened to be like 6'7" or something and built like a brick shit house, I would fucking treat him accordingly. Whereas these women seem to think they are entitled to I've made the joke before, but the guy with the moral purity of Galahad, the strength of Hercules, and the bank balance of King Midas.
Yeah, the guy that just doesn't exist.
That that it's not even Giga Chad anymore. It's we're gonna have to come up with a new term. I call it the Google Chad, the mathematic Google, not the company Google, because that's about the scale of Chadness that we would have to be at to like because Giga Chad is basically like according to women's preferences, that's entry level. Being a Giga Chad gets you in the door. It doesn't necessarily make the woman satisfied. To actually be satisfied, the woman needs a Google Chad, apparently.
Yeah, women basically want to date freaking Charlemagne.
If he had the body of Arnold Schwarzenegger and the like moral virtues of Shakespeare.
I mean, he
That's
fought in battle, so he'd have to be in pretty good shape.
well, yeah, but what I mean is it probably like even if we could like snap our fingers, teleport Charlemagne from fourth century France to here, um, he probably wouldn't be enough of a Chad for the majority of women in
Yeah.
this day and
Well, then
age.
there's just no saving them, is there?
Again, this is why I propose the new term Google Chad because Giga Chads aren't even enough anymore for these people.
Hmm. I would put Fantasy Chad to just due to the fact that he simply does not exist.
Well, but unfortunately, enough men are hopelessly devoted to women that evolution sort of dictates that they eventually will exist.
I got a better one. Aragorn.
Question is Aragorn does Aragorn have all of the things that the woman wants?
I mean, well, he's in great shape. He's a warrior and a ranger. I mean, he's morally virtuous, and he's got money. He's the king of freaking Gondor.
So the problem is, unfortunately, I think that's still puts him in the entry level position, not the actually satisfying position. Because he is definitely a Giga Chad, but is he a Google Chad?
I mean, look, at that point, there's no higher for you to go.
I mean, unless we start genetically engineering Kryptonians and Viltrumites all over the fucking place, that might actually satisfy some people.
Nope, wouldn't work. Superman is too much of a Boy Scout. He doesn't have enough Dark Triad traits.
And the vulnerability to kryptonite would turn a bunch of women off. Well,
It would give
well,
you the ick.
sure, he's the most powerful being in the universe, but he can't survive even a little bit when I put this rock intentionally close to him. What a little bitch, says the average rank and file woman probably.
Yeah, but this really just does get me thinking that a lot of the women who will say these things, like when you see them in street interviews or when you see them on podcasts, you could just basically look at them at this point and know that's what they're going to say.
Well, because and again, this is the thing that absolutely flummoxes me, because it doesn't matter if they're a dyed-in-the-wool feminist or they're a, very, very fundamentalist traditionalist, like a Tommy Lauren type. They're still gonna wind up saying it. And meanwhile, the rank and file women who aren't ideologically affiliated are still gonna wind up somewhere in the middle of those two. Like the only
The
women
only
that are
thing
worth
that I
reading are
would
honey
say
badgers. God damn it! At this point.
the only thing that I would say is that I think that the traditionalist woman might like if she got the you know
The Aragorn.
Google chat, yeah, if she actually got the guy, I think she would appreciate him more than the other women would.
This is true, but as Tommy Lauren is the example, or Lauren Southern as the example, um, they still have very limited care for the like emotional or vulnerable, like the like personhood well being of the man. They just they just see, ooh, he has all the muscles and the height and the dollar signs and the like milady virtues and shite. So they still probably wouldn't value him as a person. They would just realize that they had got the shiniest action figure out of the box.
Yeah, but to bring this around to our original topic, the Suck Guy era, do you think that men throwing women's standards back at them will lead to any sort of, realization about how ridiculous standards have gotten?
No, if anything, I think it will exacerbate the standards, because if the reaction to MGTOWs and MRAs is any indication, the women that remain would just get even more uppity and bitchy, because some men had the absolute gall to opt out or try to make them abide by the same standards they force on men. So therefore, we need to put the jump through rings even higher up, so that the remaining men, the ones that are devoted enough to us to try and run the gauntlet that we put in front of them, will be all the better, because now there's a certain percentage of men who have the gall to opt out or throw our standards back in our face, and we need better men to go and beat the shit out of those men, be it literally or intellectually. We we, we, we we need a bunch of Google chads to go and beat up all the MGTOWs, incels, and soft guys, so that they'll fall back in line and learn their place.
Yeah. Well, we can only hope, although I believe it may be a fool's hope.
Hmm. Like I said, the more I learn about the negative side of women's nature, the more I am very grateful that nature seems to have gifted me a preference for men. because I don't know how I would react if I were biologically programmed to want to run that gauntlet that women set up.
All right. I'm gonna end it a little bit early here. Do you have any final words?
Don't let them shame you back into the rat race, guys. Sooner or later, if enough men wake up, whether it be in the form of you know the MGTOW, the MRA, the anti-feminist, or even the PUA, if enough men wake up, they will have to realize that either they have to put up some effort on their end of the bargain, or they're going to yeet themselves from the gene pool. And just keeping this in mind, there are women in other countries who are not first world women who might be unspoiled enough to provide you with the Hausfrau life that you want. I cert I certainly, even as a gay man, want some days to go to the Scandinavian countries and get myself the 7 foot Chad, who I will then actually give a damn about and not just use as a tool, because I am not a bitch like so many of these women.
I've been Mystery.
I have been Dalton Mortimer, the Authenticator, and we have been the Duality of Man. Cheers, guys.
Goodbye, everybody.